Hello, hello. This is Desmond Gonzalez, and I want to welcome you to the Something to Play For podcast. Today, I have a really special guest. I'm so excited. We have Councilman Oscar Puig. Welcome to the show,
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am excited to be here with you. My son's former coach. He was great. My son really admires you and what you've done for soccer in Miami, and I hope that you continue to do that for a long time to come.
Thank you.
Yes.
Councilman Puig, we're going to get right into it. For the viewers, for people watching, we want to know, who is Councilman Puig? If you could give us a little introduction.
Oscar Puig, as a councilman, is just a resident that cares, someone that got involved from the beginning when we had no parks, we had no schools. Talking about soccer, parks is important. Quality of life, it's important for our residents, and sports bring that. Back when 22 years ago, we didn't have any parks. We didn't have schools almost. We only had one school.
Wow.
And we got together and formed a group of residents that cared, and started working towards incorporation. We in 2003 we became a city, and now the money that we generate here in taxes, it gets reinvested into the city. And big part of it is into parks and recreation.
Beautiful.
And soccer is one of the sports that are very popular here in the city.
That's for sure. Councilman Puig, I want to get your thoughts on how important do you think is youth soccer in the community? What are your thoughts? Because I think it's very important that people realize, keeping kids out of the streets, doing something productive. So what is your insight, or what are your thoughts on
Well, there's two things. You mentioned out of the streets. That's one of the worries that we've always had, right, as parents?
Yes.
But now we have technology.
Oh,
so
well said.
In addition to the streets, we have technology, which is not negative, but in excess, like anything else, could be detrimental to our youth.
Correct.
I believe that the outdoors, whether it's soccer or any other sports, are very important for them to develop different skills. One of them is group work,
correct,
teamwork, and that's some of the sports bring that, like soccer, baseball. Also, the relationship and social skills that a child can develop through sports, and of course, responsibility. And that's I saw in soccer when Diego was playing with you guys and other teams, that it's not only the sports and the fun, winning or losing, it's also the responsibility. Be there on time.
Correct.
Make sure that you work hard so your efforts are reflected in the results that you do for your team.
Wow, that's deep.
So that's very important, and I think sports bring that.
Wow, that's awesome. Talking about your son Diego Puig, as a father, growing up the ranks of playing soccer, can you give us, some feedback, your thoughts on what it did for your son? Because this is why we're doing this show. We want parents and that have questions like these to be able to hear from other parents who went through the process, because we have parents who are just starting out. They have young children. You've been through the process. I coached your son, which was a pleasure. So if you could give us some feedback on how you thought the process went.
Well, the process went well. Like I mean, as I mentioned before, many of the things that are very positive on the soccer side. And also, in addition to that, I remember in different times he wanted to change teams, and he asked me to be the one talking to the coach, and I said, no, you have to face your challenges.
Love it.
If you want this, you got to face it. And he was timid about it, and he didn't know how to talk, but he actually went and did it. And I think that helps you grow. That helps you be a man and face your challenges, whether they're good or bad. And that's what helps build character in a person. So soccer and other sports, and I know we're talking about soccer, but I think sports in general
100%
are tools for the development of a child, whether it's a woman or a man. I think it's a great tool for them to develop many different skills.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's I love how you put it because it's on the money. It's very important, the character that you build. I remember coaching Diego. People knew me as a strict coach, because I took that from what I got in Europe. It was
Right.
very military distance because at the end of the day, it's a professional. Playing as a professional,
Right.
you have to be a professional. So these things are very
Especially when you're competitive.
100%.
And also, now that you mentioned that,
Yeah.
respect to other people, to the one that's teaching you, to your other fellow players. And the respect side is also important.
100%. I want to share a little story. It's funny. I respect you a lot. It was funny.
Thank
There was
you.
a time that because I was a young coach, and I remember you approached me one time, and very respectful. I took that onto years and years. You approached me one time because I think I had said something that was a little bit strong, and you were. What I respect about it is you came to me and you said, hey, Coach, you know what? What's going on? My son respects you a lot. Hey, how can we work this out? And as a young coach, I really respect that because you could have been a little bit rough and you were just like, hey, how can we resolve this? I think you're a great coach. I respect you.
I remember we got together with him. We talked the three of us.
Yeah, we talked it out.
Yes,
And
yes.
I still to this day, I remember that, and I want to thank you for that. But I also realized in this sport, people think that it's all sometimes good to just let your child go through the easy way, but the easy way is not always the right way.
Not at all.
What are your thoughts on that? Because you've been through it. Toughness, mental toughness, giving it to these kids. What are your thoughts on, I think soccer has changed, and I just want to know what are your thoughts on, staying, giving them the real stuff, what it takes to be a
Well, I think life is that. So if you're someone that tries to make it easy for anyone, you're only going to hurt them because the world is built up of different characters of people. Some of them are very friendly, some are not. Or you go through a job and you got a boss that is not what you expected. So life has roadblocks, and if you're not true to the person that you're a role model for, or the person that you're teaching, then you're not doing a good deed for them. So correct. I think you don't need to be extremely tough. You don't need to be extremely soft. I think you a balance and be true. Gotcha. Be true because that's the way life is.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I love your thoughts, and I love where your head's at.
Thank
because
you.
again, you don't have people that are always just telling you how it is, and I know that's how you are. Councilman Puig, I have a question for you. What are your thoughts on the World Cup? In 2026, of course it's a little bit out there, but as a guy involved in soccer, obviously through your son Diego and things like that, what are your thoughts on the World Cup coming to Miami? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's great. It's going to be awesome for the entire region because it's not only going to affect positively the city of Miami, it's going to affect positively Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. We're going to have a lot of money being invested and spent in the region. So region, when we talk about the region in general or the Tri-County, it's going to be very positive financially to our kids to have a major event like it is the World Cup, which is the final is the sports that it's most viewed in the world, as you know.
Correct.
Over 1.5 billion people watch it.
Wow.
And being here in the United States, it's not only an honor, but it's going to be great for our kids to feel the excitement and to live the excitement that the World Cup brings to a city. Correct. And I hope, and I believe that's what's going to happen, that the World Cup organization involves our children into some of the events. I know that prior to the event, they start doing other smaller events to get people excited and bring the kids on and meet the players. So I hope that comes to the city and becomes a very successful event.
Wow, that's. I want to touch on that point. There's a lot of kids now, especially, soccer has grown from when I was playing, And you said something very interesting, and I think it's very deep, is that involving the kids. You know, it's one thing to, you know, have it for, you know, events for adults, but, you know, that's what we do in our program. We love kids, we like to involve kids. So like you said, getting these kids involved with these different things, I think would be great. You know, I think, you know, some of the, you know, we had a meet and greet the other day. We had DeAndre Yedlin come by, and you should have seen the way these kids and their faces were so happy. You know, it's like they got to see somebody who's going to actually go to the World Cup and play in the World Cup. So these things, I think we need to do more and more, and you touched on it, and I love that. I love that. I think it's great. So I have one last question. I asked everybody on the show about this question. Who are you going for who do you think is going to win the World Cup?
Well, I am from Venezuela, and I have my heart in Venezuela, of course, in the United States where I've been raised.
Yes.
I'm not sure if either one of the two is going to qualify. But I've always gone for Argentina.
Argentina?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Don't ask me why. Since I was little, I've always gone for Argentina.
Argentina.
It's when I was being raised in Venezuela. I came here when I was 14, but before that, I remember in our country we didn't have a team that went to any of these big events.
Correct.
So we always went for Brazil or Argentina. So I stay with the Argentina side, the minority in Venezuela.
I love it.
But I still love that team, and of course Lionel Messi. It's one of the players, and that's been my team. I can't lie to you.
I love it. No, I love it. I love it. Hopefully we can see Messi come to Miami and play here at Inter Miami one day, but who knows, you know? Yeah. So, Councilman Puig, I really want to thank you. Thank you so much for coming onto the show. We really appreciate it, and I think this is going to really help a lot of the viewers on different perspectives. So thank you again. It's great to see you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.